This video goes out to everyone who says that they've played the worst game ever made. Within the next few minutes or so, I'm going to prove to all of you guys beyond any reasonable doubt that Shadow, War of Succession on the 3DO is one of the worst games ever released and put up for sale on a retail shelf. I know most of you are probably sitting there right now saying, there is no way, he has got to be exaggerating, but to be honest with you, if anything, I'm actually downplaying how bad the game really is. First, I'd like to explain how I came across this little gem. Back when I first owned a 3DO in the 90s and was big into fighting games, I noticed this one at a game store kiosk and was always curious about it. Since there really wasn't much to choose from as far as 3DO fighting games went, anything new was worth considering. So I jumped on eBay and found a complete boxed copy of the game for about 20 bucks. I waited patiently to sit down and finally give this one a shot after all these years, and then it came. I played the game for all of about 5 minutes before I put my controller down in disbelief and then did some research online. Shadow is a fighting game released by Tribeca Interactive in 1994 that uses digitized character sprites, a style that Mortal Kombat had made famous a few years earlier. There are a total of 8 fighters to choose from, including the unlockable final boss that can be accessed via the 2-player controller in Versus mode. As for the story, I'm just going to read you guys an excerpt from the manual. The leader of Shadow, the world's largest criminal organization, has just been murdered. From around his vast criminal empire, they have come to do battle, 7 of the Shadow King's best lieutenants. To their winner will go the ultimate prize, the right to be named the next Shadow King. There are 3 selectable difficulties at the start of the game, but to be truthful with you, it doesn't even really matter. You can only fight the final boss on either medium or hard, and that's also the only way you're going to get to see your character's ending. You would also think that since the game does ask you to finish your opponent at the end of the last round, that there would indeed be finishing moves. But no. Basically, the developers just didn't remember to put them in before shipping the game. And now guys, on to the graphics. This game is ugly. The stages are all lifeless and boring, and the characters themselves look ridiculous and stupid. I don't know who decided on the costuming for these folks, but whoever that is needs to be dragged behind a building and beaten senseless. I mean, look at the water in the intro. God forbid they actually try to make it move, it's literally just a static image. How lazy can you get? The sound is probably the best part of the game, and I don't mean that it's good in that department, I just mean that it's the part of the game that'll make you laugh. You see, each character has some sort of catchphrase that they yell out before and after each fight, and some of them are absolutely priceless. Check out Carlos and Vipers, for example.
Prepare to eat lead, baby!
Oh, and this one is just excellent. The music is basically non-existent, and the sound effects and mid-fight voice samples are as annoying as any sound effect could be. The only bit of sound in the game that I actually like is the way the announcer says fight at the beginning of a round. It's hard to even talk about the gameplay in this one since the entire thing moves so uncontrollably fast. You either have to spam or cheese your way through the game, or else you'll just get stomped by every single opponent. The best way to make your way through is to pick a character that has an easy projectile attack like Carlos or Riggs, and just keep using it over and over until you get lucky enough to win the round. Thing is, there really isn't a way to gauge the mechanics in the game since there really aren't any. Oh, and once you do finally make your way through the 7 fighters, you'll have the opportunity to take on the newly reanimated Shadow King as the final boss.
Killing you once to gain your empire was sheer pleasure. Killing you twice will be pure ecstasy.
Notice that he and his stage are the only ones that aren't digitized and appear to be hand-drawn. Anyway, after another cheesy fight, you're then taken to your character's ending and then it's game over. You know, I had bought Shadow on the 3DO in an effort to hopefully find some positives in a game that I had heard so many horrible things about. I figured that maybe there would just be something about it that I would kinda latch onto, or maybe that it would just be funny enough to warrant owning it. Well, it's not. It's one of the worst games I've ever played, and that says a lot considering the number of terrible games I've played over the last 20 some odd years. The thought that someone pushed this one through QA somewhere just boggles my mind. I can't even imagine the reaction of someone who paid retail price for Shadow and took it home back when it first came out. So, am I upset that I bought it? No, not at all. Now, I can honestly say that I own what might be the worst game of all time, and when anyone I know wants to argue that with me, I can back it up. I sat a friend of mine down in front of Shadow over the weekend, and I can tell you right now that his reaction alone was already worth the $20 I'd spent. As always, guys, thanks for watching and subscribing. Until next time, stay classic.
Underneath all that garbage, you're just like all the street punks I've wasted before! Ah!